Hi, I'm Brian,
And I'm Tom.
and we are the Dividend Dudes.
We are the Dividend Dudes.
In this video, we are going to discuss how we pick stocks.
It is that time. Month 5. We've had some feedback on our videos, and apparently I talk too much and yellow shirts are ugly and we're nerds. Thank you. It's like we didn't know that.
Keep the comments coming.
Yes, we appreciate the comments. It actually helps us realize that people are watching these videos, so that's a good thing. So it's that time again. So in order to keep the videos short, we're going to try to break this up into 3 videos. So you're going to have how we kind of went through the stock video purchase. In this video, we're going to kind of go through how we pick the stocks, how we narrow it down in the second series of that, and then the third one we're actually going to cover how we got to the final decision, and then we'll tell you what that final decision was somewhere along the way.
You won't know when. You'll have to watch them all.
Yes, every single second. Just put it on repeat and then like post it in Times Square so everybody sees it. It'd be great. And then
There you go.
I'll probably be made fun of the rest of my life at that point. But that's okay. Well, is that okay?
How's that any different than now?
Ouch. So mean.
I know, sometimes.
So it's like I said, it's that time. So we've ended up picking a whole bunch of different stocks randomly. There's a process to this, so we're gonna go through that process. Brian actually has a way of picking out the stocks, and you went through and did what exactly to send me the list that you sent?
It's random, but it's not as random as we make it out to be. So basically what I do, and I'm using TD Ameritrade, and I go into their screener, pick basically 5 to 10% in the dividends, and then industries. So for now, I'm picking all industries just to get 300-400 different stocks that come up. And then I go through each page.
Only 300.
Well, if I don't narrow it down any more than, it's like 1,000. So that was way too much. So I had to pick the percentage because I was doing just any percentage.
Here you go, Tom. You like numbers. Here's 1,000 stocks to look at. Thank you for not doing that. By the way.
I just exported it. Yeah, I picked these ones. There you go. Good luck. Fun to narrow it down because it was taking way too long to go through. So I figured 5 to 10%. Good companies in that area, right? I go through every page in that to find some interesting industries and industries that maybe we don't already have, maybe some stocks that or companies I've already known about that I thought, hey, this is interesting.
Ones that we didn't know about.
And
there's
like
a
Rio.
couple.
Yeah, like Rio. I like to get to the upper part, and I'll pick a couple from the 10 and 13%. Who knows?
Just to see what it is.
It's lottery ticket. So I'll pick a couple from that and do some that I know just to get some good ones, and then others that look interesting in different varying industries and market caps.
So why do we do that? Essentially, there is a reason. So essentially, there's industries and businesses out there, like RIO is one of them, that we just you never heard of before. So if you want to find companies that you're not aware of, and that might actually be good buys, you kind of have to do some sort of a spelunking to actually see what's out there. So this first, if you're looking to do a Vanna White here, there's a first Excel video there, or Excel spreadsheet that on this video that you'll see. That is basically what Brian pulled. So we just took a look at a list of those companies, and there's a big chunk of them there. And then we also added in the stocks that we already own. There's 4 of them currently that we own, and they're on this spreadsheet as well. And then what we did after that, Brian and I, we've been picking stocks for a while, so we kind of added ones that we wanted to watch ourselves. And thankfully, the viewers, you guys have actually suggested 2 of the companies in this particular month that you wanted us to look at. So we put that in the videos, put in the spreadsheet. That's in the spreadsheet here for us to analyze. So there's somewhat randomness, and then we each have a couple companies we want to look at, and we added a few that you guys wanted to look at. Now, there's not really a whole lot of financial metrics that we put into it other than just basic like earnings per share, PE ratio, and maybe what the dividend yield is. Not really a whole lot of analysis outside of that. So it's pretty pretty generic at this point. We get into what we do with that a little bit later, but this helps us get some exposure to businesses that we may not have seen before. It also helps us analyze the companies that in many cases we both own already.
Yeah.
So, and then if there's a couple, one of the ones that the viewer suggested was actually by the time we had made the purchase, it got right to the end. It was actually really, really good company all the way to the back end of it. And I thought, wow, this is, maybe this will be the one. And there's a few things in there that just didn't feel right to me. So if something on this list and you guys recommend something and we look at it and it doesn't make it as this month's purchase, then hey, what we'll do for those finalist stocks, we'll just add them to the next one.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that they're bad stocks. It just means we found a better stock on this one.
Or so we think.
So we think.
we think it's almost like every time I bought AT&T, it's almost like if I buy AT&T, everybody wait a few weeks, it'll go down 10% and you'll get it cheaper than I got it. It's like almost every freaking time I buy the stock. Past 15 years, it's never failed.
But it doesn't mean it's a bad stock.
Right. So I try not to go over about 20 companies. We try to stay under 20, and as our portfolio for Dividend dudes fleshes itself out a little bit more, this list is probably going to be, as Brian mentioned, he's not really industry specific right now, but
it will be. This whole process, this first pass will change, and we'll start narrowing down industries, and we'll start looking at, so we have AT&T's. Okay, what's Verizon and T-Mobile doing, or any other telecom compared to AT&T? So does it still make sense to keep AT&T, or is Verizon just, wow, it's a better deal now? It's a better company. Yeah, we'll definitely be targeting more in this first pass as we get up to 15, 20 stocks.
Yep. Yeah, and it's industry dependent on that point. The other nice thing about being able to target the industries too is some of these metrics, specifically the two that are in this first spreadsheet, my Vanna White again. If you look at that, earnings per share and PE ratio are much better within their own industry than they are when you're trying to compare like a medical company to a food processing company. It's totally different. Sure, they're both manufacturing, but they have completely different purposes in the market. So in this case, once we've gotten this big list, then what we do is we go to the next part of the spreadsheet, and I'm going to pull that up so everybody can see that. And then what we do is we start looking a little bit further at these companies. Now, this is still kind of a basic glance, but what we cover here, if you look at the list, you're going to see some of the items crossed out. Now, what this is what are the red flags? Basically, what are their assets doing? What are their liabilities doing? Is there something that comes out that looks like, boy, that's not right? Like a few of the companies, they lost like 50% of their assets. I'm like, whoa, that's not good. So there's other ones too that within a specific industry may have some legal issues or whatever. We don't actually cover any of the news items in this. We don't really cover anything beyond financially and in the books, what is actually happening from an accounting perspective. So, you'll see that on this list here where we narrow out a few other companies. You're also going to notice all the companies that we have in the portfolio, they're crossed out. That doesn't mean they're bad companies. It just means we want to diversify. We don't want to buy nothing but one stock.
Right.
And that's not, and again, when we're doing this, we're doing it over the last 5 quarters. We're not doing a 5-year analysis. You'll see that further into the series here where we purchase the stock. But we isolate the 20 down, and as the portfolio builds, we'll get some nice diversification here. So There's a couple that shined really nicely that we didn't pick. Some of that had to do with the fact that, well, we already have a company in that industry, and we'll revisit that.
Yeah, we'll hold those over for the next time.
Yeah, and you want to make sure that you're diversified, just like we talk about with metrics. Like, hey, this isn't the only metric you pick. This is the only thing. This is the one tool in the tool shed. Well, just like that, we want to protect ourselves from, hey, maybe if we make a mistake, this industry over here is doing well, this one's not doing well. This will help us do that. So the initial picks, we covered that. The first pass of that starts to dig into the finances a little bit. Mostly that's their assets and the liabilities and what's happening with those assets and liabilities over the past 5 quarters. And then any other kind of pretty prevalent, or if you look at a stock from actually looking at the fundamentals, some big red flags like, hey, their cash flows or just non-existent, or their negative earnings per share, or things like that hey, maybe they're not actually doing as well financially as you would think.
Yeah. Or their assets went down but their liabilities went way up.
Yep. So that's all we have for the first pass. The next video, what we're going to do is we're going to cover a little bit more into the same exact spreadsheet. We're going to see what we do with what happened after the first pass. We're going to cover what we do in the second pass and how we isolate those to pick a stock a little bit further. We did actually buy something, so hang in there. You'll see it, and you'll see how it affects our portfolio. But in the meantime,
see you guys in the second video. Make sure you subscribe, like, hit that bell. It helps us with the algorithm. And happy investing.
Happy investing.